GratKast.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to episode 1 of GratKast.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'm your host, Frank, joined by my co-host.
Nick, hello.
He's also, a.k.a. one of my best friends. So we're going to talk a lot about things, primarily music, but
And also
gratitude.
We love that.
What are you grateful for today, Nick?
I'm grateful for a lot. Let's see. I'm grateful to have woken up today. That's a big one. I think
Love that.
LA is starting to become a little bit warmer now. I like the new weather. The rain, I was thankful for the rain, but I'm extra thankful for the sun and the warmth. I'm thankful for friends and for creativity. I could keep going on this, but what are you thankful for?
Well, I am actually grateful for the LA weather too, because it's getting nicer, and weather actually changes my mood a lot. So the sunnier it is, the happier I am, as you can tell. I'm more so grateful though for a lot of the people in my life, like my team, my family, my friends. There's a lot of sometimes life moves so fast that you forget to just take a second and just really look at people around you and how much they do mean a lot to your everyday life, you know?
True.
So
You are the people you are around.
yes, and that's my mantra too. Literally, you are who you surround yourself with, especially on this journey of like figuring out who I am as a human.
True. That's a lifelong journey. I feel like we're always learning that. And I think people change over time, which is a good thing. But being aware of that is good.
Which I thought, honestly, I always thought changing yourself was kind of a form of imposter syndrome. And now I'm kind of like, no, it's not. Like people, we're like rivers. We ebb and flow. We're ever changing. And I think the important thing to remember is if you're progressing in a positive way, then you can change all you want.
True. One other thing that I really like, and kind of a mantra that I keep in my head is, it's not where you're at, it's where you're going. As long
Really?
as you're moving in the right direction, like, don't worry about your current situation. A lot of people can get caught up and stuck in this thought of like, I'm not where I want to be. But I think as long as you're taking steps every single day to work towards that next level thing, then that's like, don't worry about where you're at. As you know in your heart that you're like putting the work in and you're actively working to change your situation and better your life, then you know that good place is coming. And
It's kind of like perspective almost, right?
True, which is a big thing. That's what we've been talking about
Yes.
recently as well.
I saw a cool little photo. Andrew, you're gonna put it up once you edit it.
Nice.
Shout out Andrew.
There it is right now. Boom.
Mm-hmm. The little photo is perspective, and there's a guy in a shitty car next to a guy in a really nice car.
There he is.
And he was like, "That's nice." And then there's a guy in that same shitty car, but then there's a guy on a bicycle. Like, damn, I wish I had that. I wish I had a car. You know what I'm saying? And the guy on the bicycle, he's riding down the bike, and there's a guy up in the balcony. That, damn, I wish I can go out and have transportation. You know? So it's like these phases of like perception almost. Like you wish you think you have less, but it's actually all about perspective, you know?
True.
One person can have a nice car, but you should be grateful for the car you have, or the bicycle you have, or for even being able to walk.
Absolutely. Gratitude. We love it.
Gratitude.
I feel like gratitude is happiness. That's a big thing that I was thinking about recently. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I think with gratitude, man, I think it's our very human existence, honestly. Like, I think a lot of because I struggle a lot with mental health, and I struggle a lot with feeling. I used to struggle a lot with feeling grateful, like truly grateful. I always used to say I'm very grateful, but I didn't really know what that meant, you know. And honestly, like for me, gratitude is always in us, but we're so stifled with like everyday bullshit and things that matter, that we think matter but don't actually matter, like emotions like jealousy, anger, sadness. I mean, all those are, like, especially like jealousy, those are created feelings. Gratitude is at our core, is always there. And then I feel like that's the natural human flow. You know, when right now, what we're talking about gratitude, and we're going back and forth. We're ebbing and flowing. This is our natural state of human interaction.
True. That's curious. You don't think that like jealousy or negative emotions are as natural as gratitude?
Nope. I think
Is it a learned thing?
it's a learned thing because humans like to self-dramatize and like to poke. We like to be in other people's business. We love to like take ourselves out of our own world and our own lives. You know, and maybe because it's consolable, but at the same time, like when you really think about it, it's a whole ass job just to mind your own business and be grateful for the things that are in your life. You know, I used to go on social media all the time. I used to feel so shitty about the things I didn't have when I was looking on social media and never really focusing on the shit that I did have. You know, like this beautiful apartment,
True.
beautiful team, like my beautiful family, my beautiful friends. Like,
You think I'm beautiful?
yeah. You want to go on a date?
I'm working on it.
What?
Anyway, I was really thinking it's a comparative thing. I think gratitude is more so looking internally, and a lot of other people is like social media is a big proponent of it as well. I think people get caught up in this comparative game where like you're looking at other people, and it kind of goes back to that lovely image that was right up there a second ago of people comparing themselves to others, and instead of just appreciating what they have, is you look at what other people have, and like there's always going to be someone with more, unless you're Elon Musk.
And it's easier said than done too, man. Because
True.
like I said, like with gratitude being at our very core, like, you know, like without like when you take out jealousy, you take out negative emotions, what you're really left with is love and, you know, gratitude. And those are two main things that two main components that make the world kind of, and not even on some hippie stuff, but like make the world spin in so many ways, you know? Like I think I read something up to like if it's something that won't bother you in 5 years, just only take 5 minutes to worry about it, or like, you know, be mad about it. And if it's not going to affect you in 5 years, just take 5 minutes of your day if you're mad about something and get over it afterwards. It's not going to affect you in 5 years. So it's like a little 5-year rule.
I like that.
You know?
True. A lot of people get short-sighted vision and think about short-term things that like.
Yeah. You know?
That's a big one for sure.
Because we always try to like tunnel vision. We always try to like really hyper fixate on the things we don't have. You know?
True. I still feel like gratitude is maybe something that has to be learned though. I don't know if people are naturally taught that. I think part of human nature is to like always desire more, which has led us to developing the most advanced civilization we've ever found. But
that's where the human like the construct kind of falls into play. Like where I feel like in civilization we're taught that like we need certain things, or we need to do certain things in order to achieve a level of sustainability or you know, greatness in a sense. And we've kind of made up our own minds in a sense. Like actually, other people have made up our own minds in a sense of what that truly looks like in the world. And when you really come down to the core of it, you know, like somebody could have everything and be successful and have all the money in the world, and you could look at that and be like, I don't have that, but you could have a beautiful family that loves and cares about you and truly loves and cares about you, and maybe that person doesn't have that, you know? So it's really all about perception, but also at the same time I do agree with you. In many ways though, I'm more on the side of like it's more like free-spirited, radical kind of point of view of gratitude.
I think maybe it's like something in the middle of the two. Maybe it's something that's everyone has in them naturally, but it's like a muscle that the more you practice, the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Yes.
It's like it's something that you have to actively like use and work at, and like then it becomes easier and stronger.
Well, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. I feel like everything that we do in our day, even like the little things, you know, like the small things in life that we appreciate or don't appreciate, make up our whole entire mindset, our whole outlook on life. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's really important to like, you know, like surround yourself with great people and to such as yourself to be able to just like take a second and really look at the things around you, like the world, and like being grateful for being alive, waking up every day, the little things, like, because if you take them for granted, and like at the same time, like we're taught that this level of success is better than waking up every day, because at the same time, that's all you really need, but at the same time, we're humans and we want more and more or something.
True. The insatiable human desire.
Exactly. But that actually leads, it's insatiable. It leads you nowhere. It just leads you with the constant like loop of like trying to find your next happiness,
I feel like this is something that I've really had to dig deep and kind of learn within myself. Is I've had like some moments where I've realized that there's nothing external that will give me validation for the rest of my life, where I'll feel like I'm content, I've achieved XYZ thing, I'm good, and like my self-worth can be based in this thing, and like I'm good, which was like a hard thing to kind of like come to like the realization of, but I feel like I found comfort in that because it was something that I'm like, okay, I know that there will never be an external thing that will give me satisfaction and comfort and like pure contentness forever. So I was like, okay, it's not that those things aren't worth pursuing, but don't place my like sense of contentness and happiness and like personal feelings in this pursuit. Like that pursuit will always go on, but I think it made me kind of realize that in order to have like long-term happiness and like satisfaction, it had to come from something internal. And it's more so, it's also more so like kind of the destination is the journey. It's like, all right, it's not going to be this one place that you get to and like, okay, everything's good now. It's like, no, the fact that I'm walking on this path and I'm going towards this place, like that in it of itself is like the validation and like some of the contentness. Like you have to be comfortable with the journey, with like the, the pursuit of it. It's not, there's no destination. It's more so the pursuit is like where you have to find the happiness.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of brought up a good point that like it really starts inside of you. All the external stuff is what we're essentially taught, but really what really matters is your true core, where you, because if like, I feel I'm on the same kind of wave of like, I'm content with myself and I'm like every day working on myself, for the rest of my life. But at the same time, like I'm doing things that not necessarily benefit me, but benefit everybody, like in my everyday life.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. And that in and of itself,
boat imagery.
And that's so much more important than like external validation.
True.
True.
And a lot of the external stuff comes from like internal things. If you stay on that internal grind and like you're,
I mean, I think you just find fulfilling happiness inside of you. And in many ways, that's what we're trying to find, right?
True.
Fulfillment.
True. I think it's a lifelong pursuit. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But
well, moving on to this topic, I feel like we've talked a lot about that. It's actually it's Monday now. It's the second week of, it was just wrapped up.
It's whatever day you're watching it on.
Whatever day you guys are watching it on. Coachella just wrapped up. My boy Nick here just went on week 1 at Coachella. How was your trip to Coachella, man?
Let's do some current events. Coachella was fun. I had a really good time. It was my first Coachella experience.
Woo!
Shout out Coachella Golden Voice putting on quite an event. It was fun. I had been to festivals before, but that was my first time like 3-day solo, like really going out and doing it. And I feel like this was a good one. I went as a fan and I got to see a bunch of shows. I saw like 30 plus different sets throughout the whole weekend, which was a lot. I was tired at the end of each day, but it was very fulfilling for my soul, even though it was an external thing. I got a lot of personal enjoyment out of seeing that. A lot of artists I wanted to see cross off my bucket list.
Who'd you want to see?
Charlie XCX was a big one. Obviously, Frank Ocean, number one. That was like the biggest thing. I got to say, though, J. Paul was even more so of like an exclusive thing because that was his first ever performance. He came out in like 2010, maybe even earlier. And to see him perform ever for the first time, to even be like, okay, he's a real person. He actually exists. He came out here and he did this.
So he hasn't had he didn't never performed a single live show?
Never done a live show. His first ever show was at Coachella, which like that's such a flex. That's so sick
that's amazing.
To be able to do that.
How long has he been in the game?
I want to say 2009 was like when BTS TU came out.
Damn.
Inspired everyone since then and did his show. The set was awesome. He could tell he wasn't like a huge performer. He kind of like sat still for the most part
Yeah.
and like just sang the songs. But the coolest thing was the crowd. Everyone around him like was cheering. The crowd knew like it was like kind of a historic moment, and so people
Was he
were.
playing songs from BTSU?
That's one song.
Oh, sorry.
BTSU.
What,
He played
whatever-
that song. He played a lot of songs.
What album was that? The demo
There's-
albums?
Yeah, the leaked album. He played a lot of songs off that, which was exciting. Like a lot of people were singing along to it. Also, the live renditions were sick.
Fire.
You can tell that he did some of the newer songs, and it really seemed like when he made those, a lot of it was just like he got the whole band together, and like people would just it'd be like the jam band session, and people would riff and do their thing, and like he would just sing on top of it. It sounded almost exactly as it did in the record,
Really?
but it was
Like
all live. It was
like a
really,
whole
really cool.
band?
He had like a whole band set up behind him.
But he's more like electronic bass, though, right?
True, but like for like the bass, he had someone playing synth bass, and like
Hmm.
there's like a lot of guitars, and he had like a live drummer and the whole setup like that.
Mhm.
But the crowd was the coolest thing because like when in between songs it'd be like a little bit of turnover time, it'd be like 5-10 seconds of silence. The crowd was deafening. It was by far the loudest out of any set. Like even though it was kind of small in this one little tent, like
Yep.
tucked in the back, everyone in there was just like losing their minds, screaming at the top of their lungs, just
Would you
supporting
call
him. To
that a
see
hidden gem?
It's definitely a hidden gem set. I think I was talking to some other people in line for some other shows. I was waiting for Idris Elba and made some friends in that line, and they had no clue who he was.
How
and I was
crisy
like,
is
"Whoa."
that?
Idris Elba
I
was
remember
another one. That
my-
was wild.
My experience, my first encounter of watching Idris Elba was by far one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. It's so random. This Christmas,
I don't know if I've seen that.
bro, I watch it every time it's Christmas time.
It's banger
Yeah,
with Idris Elba.
yeah.
What is he playing it?
He plays this. He plays this son. He's the oldest out of the family that left very early on to pursue music. He's a musician,
I see why he took the role.
and it's
Is
like
he old in this movie?
no. This is like an older movie. He's like
Okay.
he's a lot younger back in the movie, but he plays like the oldest child who pursues music. But then he's like kind of like his dad
We can
because
relate.
yeah, but he's kind of like his dad because his dad kind of left the family to pursue music, to tour and all that, and he did the same exact thing. So. Like he comes back and just it's a whole thing. It's a very fulfilling movie.
Wild.
I watch it every Christmas, but
I'll have
that's
to put it on my list.
yeah, man, it's real good. Chris Brown's in it.
Wild.
I mean, yeah,
I had never even heard of.
yeah.
this
There's a
movie.
lot of
This Christmas?
big names. Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. I just watched Beau is Afraid,
what's that?
the new Ari Aster movie, A24.
Oh my God, don't get me started. Ari Aster, man, he's crazy.
It's quite something. And to touch on our mental health note,
Yeah.
this really is a wild depiction of what someone with like crippling anxiety is like. It's
Yeah?
like 3 hours of someone with like just like freezing terror.
Wow.
He's just Beau is Afraid. It really,
So
I
is
mean,
it
it's
like
a good title
is
because
it like
like
a whole? Is
it's
it
him being afraid for like 3 hours of just like crazy things going on and him just not knowing what to do and like just being frozen in
S-
fear and anxiety.
So it's basically like a panic attack on film.
There are a couple panic attacks in the movie for
it's like
sure.
an anxiety.
It's very much
ridden.
so. It was like 3 hours of like discomfort and disbelief.
Would
but
you say
I,
that
I enjoyed it
it's an anxiety-ridden film?
100%. Much like Ari Aster's other work. There's some other topics and stuff.
I
in
remember
it,
the
but
first time I watched Midsummer, I was like, "What is going on?"
That's a wild one. There was, I don't want to say what, but there was a couple parallels between this movie and Midsummer that I was like watching this and I made me think of Midsummer.
yeah.
Yeah, in some Ari Aster ways.
Okay.
But
I'll
also,
check
I
that
have to
out.
say, looking at some discourse online afterwards, I was reminded of also how funny it was. Like, there's some really good. He's pretty funny. Ari Aster's got some good humor in it.
Fire. Okay.
I saw an
Wait. So
interesting clip.
he's in it?
No, just like he wrote it though.
Oh, okay.
So like
I was gonna say
some
yeah.
of the dialogue and like some of just like the jokes in the movie are like pretty funny.
Okay. So it's a lot lighter than his like Hereditary.
I haven't seen
and-
Hereditary, but I
Okay.
assume it's not. I wouldn't consider it a horror movie. It's more so like a comedy drama, like a black comedy in a way.
Okay.
Like very like
Almost like a Jordan Peele.
yes, very
Movie?
similar to Jordan Peele movies, where it's like there's humor in it, but it's not necessarily like okay, I watch this to like put myself in a lighthearted, funny mood.
Right.
It's like I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because I'm so uncomfortable, and otherwise, if I didn't, I'd just be sitting here awkwardly.
I mean. Wait. So on the cusp of mental health though, like it is May, so it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So to those of you guys out there who are struggling out with mental health, you're not alone. I for one struggle with mental health. like a lot of anxiety. We're just talking about anxiety.
True.
And yeah, it's definitely a real thing, and we just got to be aware that we never know what people are going through, and to just be kind and to just like yeah. But how do you feel about mental health and stuff? Like, what's your take on it? Like, do you struggle with anxiety? Do you struggle with anything?
I feel like everyone goes through bouts of it, and it's something that I've dealt with before. I think putting attention and effort on mental health is a very important thing. I think it's something that people are aware of and they know, but I think it wasn't until recent years that kind of like it became more of a culturally known thing. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I have like people in my family who consider themselves worriers, and they just say, "Oh, it's part of my personality. Like, I'm just worried, but it's a good thing because like I make sure bad stuff doesn't happen." But then you get to the point where it's like, okay, you worry so much that you maybe can't enjoy certain things as much
Right.
because you're too busy worried about other things happening, and like you can't be present in the moment.
Yeah.
And you're too worried about like what's going to happen in the future. I saw one interesting thing that said like people who worry too much about the future, it's like a sign of anxiety, and if you spend too much time like thinking about the past, it's like a sign
anxiety
of depression.
is worry about the
Just
future.
worry about true. Which it's an interesting balance, but I think everything's on a spectrum. I think some level of anxiety is good. I think like it teaches humans to be cautious towards certain things, as like in an evolutionary sense that's how we've managed to survive for so long. But it can also obviously become like to a point where you become Boaz afraid and you can't do anything, and it's debilitating, and people can't live their best lives from it. So I think it's definitely something that if you feel like you might have it, chances are you probably do. It's way more common than people think. There are good tests online that people can take to see where you fall in on certain things. And a lot of intuition is right. I think a lot of people, if you feel like, hey, you know what, I feel like I'm more worried than I should be, and I have this ball of anxiety and like discomfort in my stomach when I think about things that are stressful that other people don't seem to have, then maybe it's time to like look into resources for that. And there's help out there that is available for people. Therapy is helpful. Medication is good for some people.
I'm doing therapy. I'm on Zoloft right now too.
Have you noticed that it's helpful?
Oh yeah, I used to be a constant worrier all the time, man. I was ridden with anxiety. Actually, my father, he is an anxious person. He actually didn't know what anxiety was until I kept saying that I had anxiety, and that was like 2 years ago.
See, it's
He just found out. He just said that. He was like, all those years when I was a kid and I was feeling like worried and like afraid of the future, or just afraid in general and just worried in general, it was anxiety. So yeah, it is definitely it is reaching a point, like it's opening up a crevice of some sort, and we just got to keep moving the conversation and stuff.
True.
In many ways. I feel like with what you said, like it hinders you from being present. I think if you can ground yourself, like meditation is really great because it really just centers you back to the present and what's true and what is, like you could be worrying about like something that hasn't even happened yet, but you're wasting so much energy on that. You're forgetting about the now and like, oh, I'm actually alive right now. I'm breathing. That's why breathing exercises and meditation, it really does help. It really helps me. That's what I do.
100%. I have found similar benefits to doing the same thing. Meditation is huge. Like you said, it keeps you in the present, which I think is huge, and it kind of teaches you to let go of things you don't have control over.
Yeah, that's actually really great.
That's the biggest one, and like it's a lot of anxiety is wanting to have control over things that you don't.
Yeah,
and learning to let go of those things. And I think the reason why meditation is so good is because it's something that a lot of for me, meditation is learning how to like not control your thoughts, but learning how to be present with them and let them kind of flow without trying to interfere with them and just let your mind do its thing.
Right.
I think a lot of people think, one, that they control their thoughts, and two, they have to like act on it.
Yeah. One
analogy that I learned from a meditation app that I like to use called Headspace. Shout out Headspace. They also have some good series on Netflix as well. But it's the analogy of sitting on the side of the road and watching the cars go by, but the cars are your thoughts. And a lot of the
Mm.
time, our natural instinct is to run out into the road, to try to stop the cars, to try to run along and stay with a certain thought and keep up with it. And you're running around like a madman.
Mm-hmm.
When really the biggest thing is to just practice sitting there, let the cars go by. You can recognize the thought as it enters your mind. But then from there, you really have the choice whether you want to, one, act on it, two, you want to even acknowledge it. It could just be, this is something that is passing. I let it go on,
Mm-hmm.
and I am just continue to be present and comfortable, like where I'm at, without doing that. And it's something that I find I have to recenter myself all the time, just because our natural inclination is to
Yeah.
run out into the street and try to,
Well,
start
yeah,
thinking
these
about
days we're
things.
so oversaturated with so much things. It's like our minds are everywhere, but at the same time, if you have the ability to just ground yourself and just understand that you're here in the moment, and that's all that really is happening. That's
Mhm.
what's true. Whatever
True.
you're thinking about are just like rotten apple thoughts. I think the analogy you brought up with the cars passing by, I think of a tree, and like you're the tree. A lot of and the tree itself is the tree itself, and the apples are like your thoughts. And we as humans, we tend to think a lot, and we tend to take our thoughts sometimes to the extreme, and we tend to act on them. We react to them, and not more so like good thoughts, but more bad thoughts, that
Mhm.
cause a lot of these negative emotions and mental health issues, And I, for one, have fallen prey to that many, many times, And now, fast forward where I am now, I feel like I know myself well enough to be like, okay, Frank, you're worrying about something that's not necessarily doesn't even exist,
Mhm. Yep.
in many ways. It really is just centering yourself. And I always take 3 deep breaths. I close my eyes when I feel like overwhelmed or stimulated. I take 3 deep breaths, really good deep breaths.
Nice.
And I'm like, I open up my eyes, and I'm always back to one. I'm always back to
Should we
the
do
center.
3 deep breaths with the audience right now, just to?
Let's do it. Let's do
Awesome.
it.
All right, everybody at home, close
Ready?
your eyes. Put a smile on your face. I see it. There you go. Nice. You're looking cute. All right, let's take some deep breaths. Ready? Man,
And we're still here.
I gotta say shout out to Wim Hof, the man, the number one breathing man. Yeah. If we don't have too much time left here, but
All right.
just to say, if you're interested in breathing exercises, Wim Hof is very interesting, and I've gotten a lot of personal benefits from utilizing his breathing exercises.
He was like the Iceman, right?
The Iceman.
Yeah.
Cold water immersion and breathing exercises
Hell
are
yeah.
the key. He's figured some stuff out.
So Andrews just gave us the 2-minute mark. We want to wrap on that conversation. This has been a great first official episode of the GratKast.
True.
I want to wrap. I
Let's
just
do
want
some
to say,
shout outs.
yeah,
I feel like we haven't done enough shout outs this
let's
episode.
do some shout outs.
Yeah.
You go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, let's see. I want to shout out the beach.
Shout out the beach.
I like the beach. When it's nice out, shout out the beach.
Heck yeah. I've been going to the beach a lot more often
Nice.
too.
You're looking
Yeah.
good. You're looking
thank
tan.
you.
See you getting some
Thank you.
sun. So you've been going on hikes too.
Oh yeah, I want
Shout out to mountains. Ooh, where I'm from,
yeah.
flat. Out here, big mountains.
But in many ways, I want to wrap with our top 3 favorite. This is a little segment I want to put in
Okay.
just for the podcast, for every podcast
We planned
episode.
this.
We didn't plan this. This is all spontaneous. We're literally just
Off the
doing
cuff.
it. For every episode, we're gonna end. Obviously, we started with what we're grateful for. But we're gonna end off with something that's fun and your top 3 favorite anything. So, what's your top 3 favorite movies right now?
Wow, top 3 favorite movies. Boom. All right, number
Quick
1.
release, go.
Okay, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Boom.
Okay.
Number 2,
Don't think about it, just go.
Ex Machina, and number 3, The Arrival.
Oof. Okay, I really love everywhere all at once.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
All right, let me give you top 3 fruits.
Okay. Bananas,
Mm.
apples,
Mm.
and kiwis.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that, but that was a good one.
Heck, kiwis are really good and high in vitamin C.
Okay. Also, I got to give a quick shout out to blueberries.
Yes.
Joey put me on apparently the best fruit in the world.
Antioxidants.
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly good. Also, the smoothies that you can make with those things.
Oh,
bussin'.
Shout out Joey shout out Joey Arbage.
Yeah.
You the man.
Big shout out, Joey. Okay.
Legend.
Awesome. I think that concludes the official first episode of the GratKast.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see y'all next time.
See y'all next
Until
time.
then, we're grateful for y'all.
We're grateful for
Much
all
love.
y'all.